than from behind these helicopters. That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah. Well,
There's a great deal of data to support that opinion.
I may have some information on that, Tom.
Okay.
I have been doing experiments with a high-voltage Tesla coil, and I'll tell you what I've been doing. I have been purifying water by capturing the ozone, which kills all the bacteria. Now, maybe what may be happening is you're getting little electrical sparks inside the body cells, and the ozone from that little electrical spark is curing or killing the bacteria that would normally start to occur in that process.
That may be the explanation.
Okay, now I only know that because of the experiments that I've been doing on bacteria to find a way to clean up all our water for L.A.
Right.
Which needs all the help it can get.
We need a lot of help and a lot of water all over the country.
And I'll tell you, the easiest solution for that is the Tesla coil.
But it's not chemicals, and so therefore the press will not buy it.
It doesn't have anything to do with chemicals, and there's a very unique way to do that, and that's produce the high voltage and suck the ozone from that high voltage and bubble it through the water. And within 5 minutes, the chlorine and everything and all the bacteria is dead in that water, and you have pure water.
Well, you know, we need to do something because the primary way we purify water with chlorine is diabolical. The intake of chlorine into the body when we drink water is not good for you at all. It's been at least implicated in heart disease. And it's even to the point now where they're warning you about taking showers, because when you beat the water on something like you do when you're taking a shower, well, you free more chlorine and you breathe it in. You get it direct in the lungs, you get it direct in your bloodstream. So it's sort of between a rock and a hard place. We use the chlorine so that the water doesn't make us sick, and yet over a long period of years, the chlorine can contribute to disease and decay.
Well, we don't allow any in our house. the chlorine is all gone.
It's a pretty bad situation, though, Bill, when you start to get, you know, a system like that supplies L.A., and you can't even put fish in the water because they just die and float upside down.
And we're supposed to drink that.
Well, and all the people that have had problems because of the ammonia. But one solution is that ozone generators, not that it's good for you to breathe it yourself internally, but it can clear up the water. I mean, you could just put a little ozone in the reservoir and never worry about bacteria again. It just refuses to live.
All right, Edson, you see what you triggered here?
Yeah, great. There's going to be a cassette tape of this show, I understand?
Yes, there will be this show, the Weather War show we did with Tom Bearden some time back, the one with Dr. Marcel Vogel, the one with Dr. Berg about the Kabbalah, and the one in 2 weeks with Robert Monroe and the out-of-body experience, when we'll have the out-of-body travelers from Virginia come right into our studio, investigate, go back to Virginia, and check back with us.
Oh, that's great.
So those will all be available to you.
Really great show.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill, while I can interject a point here, since you mentioned that Weather War tape, I wanted to mention that we found evidence that the thing I've been calling the giant radio from the ground, where you see a large thing, has actually been photographed from satellites and is being called in the literature the enhanced V. I'm talking about the letter V.
Uh-huh.
And it has been photographed from satellites, and I'll give a real quick reference since this will be on the tape, and you can pursue it from there. National Weather Digest, Volume 10, Number 2, May 1985. Along about page 7, there's an article that will give you references to the enhanced V, and will show you some pictures taken by satellite of that effect.
By the way, 2 observers here in Southern California saw the radials the other night. Mr. Bedini and Mr. Jenkins.
Well, good.
It was too dark to get videotape of those, although we do have the other videotapes.
We're watching for you, Tom.
Good.
We're also taking tuner measurements of what's going on.
Well, I just wanted to bring out the fact that the thing has been spotted from the satellites, and it has been definitely associated with severe weather.
And the Weather War show was fascinating, and I might point out that the article in Let's Talk magazine, which will be out in the next week or so, is based upon Tom's material, and we'll have some photographs in there for you in the magazine and some graphics, and go over some of the data that we have covered before. So I hope everybody will be getting their copy of Let's Talk. All right, Edson, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be back with John Bedini to define a scalar wave, if you would.
Okay. I'll do it two ways. First of all, imagine you have a steel plate, and that's your medium, and you have a set of forces on both sides pushing in so that they balance and sum to zero. Okay, leave the set of forces on there. That plate is under stress. That's a quite different plate from a plate that has no forces at all acting on it, even though the resultant of those forces is zero. Now imagine that the forces are being produced by, say, two hands, a bunch of fingers. You increase the force with which you're pushing, but they still sum to zero. And you do it all at the same time, and you regularly increase and decrease the force with which you're pushing, but they always sum to zero. In that plate, you have a rhythmic stress wave, but never did the plate have a resultant force acting on it to push it in one direction or the other. It's a squeeze and relax wave. Okay, that's a scalar wave. If you do this now in vacuum, where you have electric fields and or magnetic fields opposing themselves or adding together to make a zero, and you increase and decrease the magnitude of all of those forces, but they always remain summed to zero, the energy of each one of those waves is locked in there in that system that sums to a zero vector. And so as you increase the forces, everything is dynamic at base, you're increasing the energy and decreasing the energy density of vacuum. And by definition, by pure general relativity, that is a gravitational wave. What you have done is you have taken electromagnetic field energy, force field energy, and turned it into gravitational potential field energy. And that is a scalar wave. A scalar